Jaden, quiet.
All right. All right. What did you eat for dinner?
Hang on one second. Take him out, please. Okay. I had just a burger. I didn't do the barbecue because I didn't have the ingredients to make the barbecue sauce.
Oh yeah.
So I just did just a regular burger. And then I just made like a big salad and green beans.
That's good. Do you feel like you are eating more because you're doing paleo?
I'm eating more dinner, but like less throughout the day. Like before I started this, I would like snack throughout the day.
Yeah.
But I find like I'm not a big breakfast eater, but I find that like I've made myself eat breakfast, and therefore I'm not like snacking throughout the day. Like this morning I had hard-boiled eggs and a banana, and then I didn't snack again until like 2 o'clock.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So I find that I'm fuller at like breakfast and don't eat lunch, but like I get snacks and stuff, and then like I'm really hungry by the time dinner comes.
Yeah.
And make more for dinner.
Yeah. And then did you just eat one burger or like?
No, just one burger, and then I made a big salad.
Yeah. Did you eat like the burger? Was it wrapped in, or did you just put it on top of the salad?
No, I just had it like I just had it by itself, and just ate it plain.
That's good.
Not wrapped in anything. Everyone else had a roll in their burger.
Yeah. So Johnny's not doing it with you?
He's eating the dinner with me, but I told him he can have a roll.
Yeah. That's good. Hopefully they'll start weeding that stuff out too. So yeah. You felt really good yesterday and had more energy, and then today you just felt like?
Today I was just kind of like fatigued.
Yeah.
Like I felt like kind of queasy and nauseous a little bit. And like just not wanting to do anything today. Like kind of took it easy.
Yeah.
Good. Like I felt like I was getting sick, but then when I talked to you this afternoon, I kind of figured out what it was.
Yeah.
And then I was having like a craving for chocolate. So I went through the cookbook and I found that chocolate milk, and that like really like hit my craving.
Yeah, that's good.
Natalia broke into your house.
Like it was perfect. Like just that little bit of sweetness that I needed. I came home after I picked the kids up and had honey I had hot tea and I put honey in it, and that was kind of soothing. Like it felt good to have like a little bit of that sweetness, but then that chocolate milk kind of cured it a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. A lot of people will say like the first usually the first 3 to 5 days they feel like they have flu-like symptoms, so cramping or sweating or nausea or like can't get off the toilet, especially if they were really like a lot of clients who are addicted to sugar, who have had really a tough time getting rid of sugar, who are just withdrawing from sugar and the excess carbs and excess breads and pastas and things like that. They tend to suffer the worst. So
yeah,
if you just cut it cold turkey, you got to think about it like sugar is an addiction, so that you're essentially detoxing off of your sugar high.
Yeah. Well, like one thing that I noticed today that was a little bit different than any other day was like my stomach, like it's not as bloated as it was.
Yeah.
And I'm you said you're recording this?
Yeah.
Well, this is my time of the month.
Yeah.
And I've noticed like a big difference in that. Like normally I'm really bloated and kind of feel gross
Yeah.
just from all of like the side effects that you get from that. And like today it wasn't as bad. Like my stomach feels like it's a lot like not as heavier as it has been, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I find that especially during, during like a menstruation week, when you take out like the sugar and especially for me, chocolate, I noticed that I'm not getting, I feel like women in general, like when they step on the scale during that, their time of the month, it can go anywhere from like 5 to, 3 pounds, whatever, your weight fluctuates drastically. And
Yeah.
I find that when I am, really strict and not even letting myself like cheat with certain things or have like my 20%, that my weight tends to stay the same. So the bloating and the cramping and, I'm not experiencing the drastic mood swings and stuff like that, you normally get during that week.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully with you starting paleo during that time, you won't experience that as bad. And sometimes it takes like a couple months for people to realize that like their, menstruation pains aren't as bad as it used to be.
Yeah, like that was something too. Like normally, like this is the very beginning of that.
Yeah.
Like my first day is really really bad, but this time I haven't like it didn't hurt as bad.
That's good.
And that was something that I noticed too that was different. But like even sleeping better, like going to bed, like I think it's because I have so much energy during the day
Yeah.
that it feels better. Like to just get in bed and go to sleep. I don't know. But I think, yeah, today was my hardest day. Just getting things done. Like I just felt run down.
Yeah. Yeah, usually that's what people generally like. Day one, they don't really feel any different and they're still just like excited to get started. And then day two, they usually are, either aren't feeling anything different or they actually have like a little bit of an increase in energy. And then I find that day 3 through 5 are the worst.
Mm-hmm.
People are just tired, getting sick or, feeling like they're going to get sick. And then usually day 6 is like the make it or break it stage where they start to get that uptick in energy and start to feel, like they are getting into a habit and a routine.
Mm-hmm.
Day 10 for me was like okay, I can do this. This isn't really as hard as I thought it was going to be. And then we've even had people who have already lost, like 6 pounds within their first week. So it'll be interesting to see. Have you been like writing down, did you do your measurements and like photos and stuff?
No, but I did step on the scale because I did like before I started, I weighed myself.
Yeah.
And just out of curiosity was kind of curious after being in the bathroom all the time, like how much I weighed after that, and I actually lost 5 pounds.
Yeah. So it might fluctuate like off of that just because of because you're menstruating, because of different things that our body's going through at this time. So you might either see, especially since you weighed yourself after just like 3 days. So I usually tell people to stay off the scale for 21 days just because, especially for women, we fluctuate so much. So really just, write the weight down that you saw first, when you first started. And then after 21 days, go with that weight. But don't really like get stressed out if you see the scale not really budging or going back up a little bit or whatever, because your body right now, what's happening is, if you're used to eating, say, a typical meal, you get up and you eat some Cinnamon Toast Crunch and, an orange or whatever. And then throughout the day, you have a Snickers bar, and then you go to Subway and you get like a sub with, tuna salad or whatever on it. And then, you get that free cookie. So you eat the cookie and then you eat, your kids' Halloween candy, like for dinner, you eat pasta and bread. And then for dessert, you have another, piece of Halloween candy. So that's your typical diet, right? That's what most people in America like are eating without thinking about it. So when you're eating that on a regular basis and your brain is used to all of that sugar and all that, excess carbs and things like that, that's what it's generally used to. When you cut all of that out so drastically like you're doing, your brain is still saying like, hey, you haven't given me any sugar today. Like, hey, where's my sugar? And your brain starts to panic, thinking that you're gonna, starve it. So you might feel like, it doesn't sound like you are, which is good, but you might, a lot of people might start feeling like they're starving or they're hungry or not getting enough food. And I generally find that's more with men than women. But, if you start feeling like that, your stomach, hasn't caught up with your brain. It hasn't told you like, this is a new way of eating. Like I'm actually feeding you, but I'm just feeding you the good stuff. And so the sugar is not there anymore. And so generally about day 10 is when things start to finally catch up. But during that time, you're going to be your brain's going to want to hold on to some of the fat and stuff. So when you're weighing yourself, it's not going to be what you actually see until after like 21 days or so, even really 30 days. Is when you start to, if you're really doing it strict, you're going to start to burn the fat. And that's really when you'll notice a big difference. So that's good. And then if you are really starving, I've had a couple people contact me like, I'm so hungry all the time. And again, it's usually guys, but if you are, try increasing your protein, the meats that you're eating or the veggies that you're eating. Try adding more of that in, because I find that a lot of people struggle with, especially if they've dieted before, if you're a chronic dieter and you've gone through all of these different dieting, your mind says you're on a diet. And so your natural instinct is to eat less and try to cut calories. Where on paleo, you don't want to do that. You want to keep eating. And if you're hungry, eat whatever you want within the guidelines of paleo. Don't try to starve yourself or try to cut back on calories, because you don't have to do that. But it doesn't sound like you're hungry, so which is that's good.
Yeah, no, I felt like the last 3 days like really full in the morning and then not like really eating lunch. Like yesterday I went on a picnic with a friend of mine and we went and took the kids to the park, and I was trying to figure out like, okay, what do I eat for lunch? You know, because normally I would just pack like a sandwich and a bag of chips and take a water with me or something. And so like I was like, okay, well, what do I eat?
Yeah.
So I just had, for breakfast, I just had the oat bar. And by lunchtime I was really hungry because I just had one oat bar and I felt full. But then when I finally started walking and like doing stuff, I got really hungry. So what I made was like just celery, and I took some ham or some turkey. It was turkey. And just put it like all in a little bag, and I took one of those the guacamole dips that I got for the kids.
Yeah.
I took that, and it was really good. It was better than what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. It doesn't taste like avocado.
No, it doesn't. And that's like when I opened it up, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Guacamole
really is such a great snack for that kind of thing, because, well, now they make it so convenient in the containers, but also because it's, a healthy fat. Like avocado is, a good healthy fat that will help fill you up. So when you eat it, you actually are getting full, unlike your salsas or something like that, where it's just, veggies.
Yeah, and I like those plantain chips too.
Good.
Like they were really good. Like it was just enough salt that I felt like I was eating a chip.
Yeah.
But like it was filling enough. Like I felt like I was getting it, because sometimes you eat like those, like a bag of chips, and you're just like, well, that was pointless.
Yeah, there's never enough in there.
Yeah, like this, and I dipped the plantain chips into the guacamole, and that was really good.
Yeah, that is a staple in our house. If we run out of that, we're in panic mode. That's, when my kids say they want a snack, like that's what they get, is plantains and guacamole. So that is definitely something that we keep in the house. And then, You know, especially and you would know, like as a mom, like when you're at home by yourself, or like you've been running the kids around and then you lay them down for a nap, you don't feel like doing anything. You know, you don't want to cook for yourself. You just want to sit down and like breathe for a minute. So that's what I'll do is I'll grab a bag of plantain chips and guacamole and, you know, a seltzer water with some lemon or, you know, an unsweetened tea. And then I will, you know, just sit and relax for a little bit and have that instead of making myself like a big meal.
Yeah, like now, like I am not a huge unsweetened tea girl. I love sweet tea.
Yeah.
And before, like, I knew I wanted to do this, so a week before this was going to happen, I made myself a big jug of unsweetened iced tea, and I started drinking it. Like, it's a lot better than what I thought it was going to be, but one thing that I found that I absolutely love is the Pure Leaf unsweetened black tea.
Yes.
And it's so good.
Yeah,
like,
it's really good.
It tastes like, it doesn't say there's lemon in it, but it tastes a little bit like it has lemon in it.
Yeah, some of their unsweet tea does come with lemon now, but not all of them do. Yeah. It's good. And there are a couple people who have told me, like, I just am sick of drinking water and I don't like unsweet tea, and they want other options. So some of the things that we drink are like unsweet tea, and I'll add lemon or lime to it. And then we also get just like regular plain seltzer water, and we'll add, you know, like our own lemon or lime or raspberries or like our own natural fruit to it.
Yeah.
Some of they ask about the ones that are already flavored, and I know LaCroix, I'm probably saying it wrong, but LaCroix seltzer water, that one seems to be good. I haven't really read the ingredients, but I know a lot of paleo people drink those. And then,
friend Rochelle,
be careful with like the ones that you buy, like you know, Walmart's brand name ones. They're no good. Like, they have sugar in them.
Yeah. Well, there's another one, that Walmart one has aspartame in it.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of them that have some really bad stuff. But if you read the ingredients on them, you know, those are another good option. And I know people are like, I just need some bubbles. So, you know, it's always good for like your bubbles if you need some bubbles.
Yeah. All the kids are like this, since this is our first week, like all the kids are finishing up, like, I've gotten like a soda for the weekend for the kids.
Yeah.
And I've kind of like stopped drinking soda just to see what it does, because I have vitiligo.
Yeah.
And with anxiety, you know, that caffeine really kind of makes it go crazy a little bit. So I kind of quit drinking sodas, but the kids still want something, like, because we do Pizza Fridays, and Maggie wanted some soda with her dinner tonight. And I heard when I opened up the lid, I was like, oh, I just want that. But I was really good, and I didn't. I just, you know, I had my iced tea, but
that's good. Yeah.
I'm going to go next week when I go shopping. I'm going to get that LaCroix.
Yeah.
My friend Rochelle drinks that, and it was like, I've tasted it, and the raspberry is really good. Like, it's a seltzer water, but you can taste a little bit of the like raspberry in it, and it's pretty good.
Yeah. With as far as your vitiligo goes, have you what have like your doctors and stuff said about it?
Well, just I saw her last week, and they took me in for a blood test to check and make sure, like, it's not something like I haven't been tested for it, but they know that's what it is. But I told her I was doing the paleo for the 21 days.
Yeah.
She was real curious to see if that will start healing it up.
Yeah.
Because she has made the comment before that it's just there's certain types of foods that I eat, you know, just from that. And even my sister-in-law, you know, she's a nurse. She's started kind of doing the whole paleo a few months ago, and even her autoimmune diseases have healed just from certain foods.
Yeah.
eating. So they think that it is in our food. She's curious to see if that handles it, but sometimes she's also said it's from stress too.
Yeah. So you have vitiligo. You also have thyroid issues,
Yeah,
right?
I have a thyroid, not a disease, but it's just my thyroid is out of whack.
Okay.
Um, just my number, like I'm in a 5 and it's supposed to be below a 5.
Right.
My cholesterol is real high. So, and they think that because my thyroid's real high, they think my cholesterol is high as well.
Yeah. I was
Which,
just wondering because sometimes vitiligo, when you have an autoimmune disease, there's other things that can stem from that autoimmune disease that kind of, imitate other issues. So I didn't know if you had something like Hashimoto thyroid, like a thyroid, something that they actually named.
well, the Hashimoto's I do have.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons why she was excited about me doing paleo was because like that I'll eventually be able to get off on my medicines.
Yeah. Hope. Yeah, that's the plan, right?
That is the plan. Yes, I don't like taking medicine at all, and like just sometimes I forget to take it. Just because with the kids, like trying to get the kids out the door for school, and then I turn around and Jack needs something, and it's just like all of a sudden, like I forget my routine.
Yeah.
And then I'll take it, but I just hate being on it. Like, just I don't want to live the rest of my life with taking medicine.
Yeah.
And that's our goal, is to get off of it completely. And I'll see her again. I'll see my doctor in 3 months. So I'm hoping between now and the 3 months that there's a big change.
Yeah.
And that she needs it.
So I generally like if people have a known autoimmune disease.
Uh-oh, are you there?
You still there? I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I'm here.
I know with your thyroid, you can still have like constipation and exhaustion and, a whole bunch of issues with that. So I feel like for you, with the first 21 days, be really strict paleo. And then after that, then we would go and kind of see if you're still having those things severely, then we could talk about like putting you on an autoimmune meal plan specifically.
Okay.
And so that would mean, just a serious, it's going to be a very restricted, like your family's not going to want to do it with you, because that kind of thing would be like no eggs, especially with the Hashimoto, like no nightshades, because those are inflammatory things. So we would take all the inflammatory foods out of your diet and just be really strict with that and monitor and see how, what foods are helping you improve and what foods are damaging you.
Yeah, like now something that I noticed today, like I love chocolate milk. And if just drinking regular milk, sometimes that hurts my stomach. When I had that chocolate milk today, like no pains or anything. Like,
Yeah.
so right there, that tells me like sometimes milk messes with my stomach.
Yeah. Yeah. I would definitely recommend not even like cheating with dairy for a little bit.
Yeah.
I would say keep it out as long as possible. But good. All right. Well, do you have any other questions?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, then I will check on you tomorrow.
Okay.
Is Maggie doing it?
Maggie had the cereal bar, or not the cereal bar, but the oat bar today, and she really liked it.
Yeah, that's good. I'm interested to see how she does,
Yeah.
with limiting certain things.
I think next week, like, I'm gonna push it on her a little bit more than I have been this week. Just this week has been like a trial for me.
Right. Yeah. Do you
But
think it's as hard? Like, I know you've done the whole 30, and I know you tried that before. Do you think, like, with this, I know you're just on day 3, but do you feel like with this program it's easier, or like comparative?
I feel it's so much easier. Like,
That's
with
good.
Whole 30, like, I felt hungry all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I was more restricted on what I could eat and how much I could eat.
Yeah.
Where this one, I feel like it's so much better. Like, I can have as many of those oat bars as I want.
Yes. Yeah. Especially the first week. That's what I feel like. One of the things we thought about when we designed this program was that, like, if you're going to make it a lifestyle, how do you do that? And it's not by limiting everything all, right away. And I was even talking with one of our other, a couple of our other clients, but one of them specifically said, like, they feel like they're not strict paleo because they can't do like the meat all organic right now. And I'm like, well, you're still paleo, but you're just learning, and eventually you'll get to that point where, even after 5 years, there's still things that I'm still like working on cutting out of my diet. There's still things that I'm reading up on that make me want to change. I definitely don't dip into the the candy bowl as often as I used to, or I don't really cheat on paleo as much as I used to. And even things that I cheat with now, to anyone else, they're like, no, that's still health food. And I'm like, well, not for me. It's not for me. But I think that when you're doing something like this and you're trying to make it a lifestyle, if you restrict yourself too much, then you're not going to want to keep up with it.
And that's like, I know, like, my first 3 or 4 days with the Whole 30, I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. Where, like, I still feel like with this, I'm getting full. I'm hungry. One thing, like, I haven't been craving is bread. Like that. Like, even, like, I made Jack a sandwich yesterday to go on our picnic, and, like, I didn't even care. Like, it bothered me to see Johnny eating a roll with his burger.
That's
and
good.
ketchup. Like, I still want to do this, and especially with, like, Maggie's problems that she has. Like, if I can avoid surgery with her, I'd rather avoid surgery.
Yeah.
So I feel like it needs to start with me first.
Yeah, I mean, the kids are always going to emulate like what they see you doing. So like even tonight I made shepherd's pie with lamb and shredded carrots and peas and white sweet potatoes, and Jackson was, I don't want to eat that. I don't like peas. I don't want potatoes. He hates mashed potatoes. Anything mashed, he hates it. So I was like, that's fine, just eat what you want and then we'll go from there. So he ate all of the meat and just like shoved it in his mouth. And then Brandon got home and he was eating it and he started eating the peas. Well, then Jackson was like, well, maybe I could try them. And I was like, oh, okay. And so, he ate like 2 of them and was like, that's okay. But like, he saw Brandon eating them and he wants to be just like daddy. So that's what he's going to do. But people always say like, how do you get your kids to eat like that? And I'm like, well, cause that's how we eat. And like you said, a couple days ago when we first started talking, that you were making dinners and that's what you guys were eating for dinner. Like, you're not making extra meals for anyone.
Right.
I think that's the way to go, is like, once they see like, oh, this is just how we eat, this is just what we do, then, it'll be easier. And the more you get into the routine of it, and you have your like standard go-to items that you buy at the store, they'll get it.
Yeah, and like my kids aren't picky anyway, which
Right.
is good.
Yeah.
Like they love seafood. Like I love fish. My kids will eat fish. Maggie loves fish.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, I know next week we're gonna do that, but I think next week I'm gonna pull something from the Eat Like a Dinosaur and do something fun for the kids.
Yeah.
Because usually on Fridays we do pizza, so I thought, you know, maybe I'll do like chicken fingers or something, and we'll do something from the Eat Like a Dinosaur.
Yeah, that's good. That'll be fun for them. I know in our October group, one of them I gave them a like paleo pizza, and I know you've tried paleo pizza before.
Mhm.
But I did paleo pizza and showed them how to do like individual like personal pizzas, and then everybody gets to, make their own pizza.
Mhm.
So that one I can tag you in that post. But that's good. Yeah, I think, once you get the kids on board, then you don't have to think about it quite as much because you're not trying to figure out how to make your budget work for you and for, your kids. It'll all just, clump into one category. So good.
Yeah. And then Jaden's my biggest thing because he eats all the time. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's just nonstop eating.
Yeah.
And
That's how Finley is, and she's only a year and a half. I kind of worry.
yeah, Jaden's like he's like eats like he eats more than Johnny. And
Yeah.
you know, Jaden's just, Johnny's a big guy where Jaden is not so big. And I don't know where he stores it, but like he had his burger, he had a burger and he had green beans. And he came into the kitchen, he's like, "Can I have some cereal?"
Oh my goodness.
No, no cereal. You know, have an apple, have a banana, have, something. And,
Yeah.
I've let him get into this routine of, okay, well, he's eaten all of his dinner. Go ahead, have, a bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
So I need to, and once I told him no, he didn't want a banana or an apple, so he just left.
Yeah. See, they always say if you're truly starving, then you'll eat, carrots.
Yeah.
One of the, like that's kind of stuff like after dinner. We have like a pretty routine like dinner, bath, bed. But if, we have a late night and they're still like asking for food, we usually have like fruit or something that they can eat afterwards, or carrots and cashew nut butter is another good one. Or
Mhm.
for like special nights, we'll do like, smoothies, like a chocolate shake, Jackson calls it.
Yeah. Now, like, see, I know that like something else that I saw a difference in me just in the past 3 days. Like, I'm a huge snacker. I love to eat snacks, and Johnny got a snack last night at 8 o'clock, and I just looked at him and I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm
Yeah.
hungry."
Yeah.
But I found myself being full because I had my salad. I loaded it up with tomatoes and all the good vegetables, and
Yeah.
I wasn't hungry. Like I was really proud of myself for not caving in.
Yeah.
And he had deer meat, and he's like, "Are you allowed to have this?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm allowed to have it. I don't want any." But
Yeah.
it's good to turn that down, like just to say no. Like, I cut myself off, but that's something I need to do with the kids too, is just to cut them off, at a certain time. Jaden goes to bed at 9:30.
Mm.
So like he's still hungry. But when I told him to have an apple or banana tonight, he just like no, and just went downstairs. So
They might hate you for the first. I feel like most of my clients and their families hate me for the first 5 days, and then after that, it's okay. But yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like, especially as like the one that cooks and makes the meals and shops for everything, you feel like when you can turn down snacks or treats, like at night, you feel like more confident. Like, oh yeah, I can do this. Like this isn't actually that hard. And then you wake up the next day and you're like, nope, that was easy, and I'm not starving when I wake up. So, I can
Yeah.
keep going.
And something else that I noticed too, like I was talking to Brandon a couple weekends ago when we were all back at home, and we were talking about heartburn and acid reflux.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I constantly get acid reflux.
Mm.
Like, just for the last 3 days, I haven't had it, which is nice. Like,
Yeah.
not having to deal with that.
Yeah, they one of our other clients suffers from GERD, and she I feel like she was pretty early on her 21 days, and she suffers really bad where she has to get like her esophagus stretched every 3 years.
Oh my goodness.
And her, it runs in her family, but she said that that's one of the big things that she noticed is that just being on it for just a couple days. I want to say she was on it for like a week, maybe 8 days, something like that. And she forgot to take her medication and thought, oh, this is like going to be an awful night's sleep and it's going to be horrible. But she ended up, not even having any issues at all until like later the next night, and then had to take it. But she's definitely like, I don't know where she is right now as far as if she's still taking it, but she's definitely noticed a major difference in that. And her goal is to not have to take her medication or anything anymore. So hopefully that'll work out. But yeah, there's been a lot of research, and I don't know if I shared it on the Facebook page or just with her, but there's been a lot of research of paleo helping with reflux.
Mm-hmm.
And even another person, her daughter, infant newborn, was having, just that, newborn reflux and spitting up, and just being on it for like the first 12 days, she noticed a big difference in her daughter already.
Yeah.
From nursing her. So that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess you know where to reach me if you have any other questions or need anything.
All right.